opportunity to live his life. More than 90,000 people signed a petition asking Georgia's governor to stop the execution. And Gissendanner's lawyers filed several motions in court on Tuesday, trying to stop or at least postpone it. Some of her supporters visited her in the final hours.
As we left, it became very somber, and Kelly asked us to pray with her, and we all prayed together. She was very strong, and she was very assured in whatever the process was going to be.
But the U.S. Supreme Court denied multiple requests for a stay of execution. And at 12:21 a.m. Wednesday morning, 47-year-old Kelly Gissendanner was put to death by a lethal injection. I'm Andrew Spencer.
It's autumn in New England now, but the politicians heading to New Hampshire aren't looking for the colorful foliage. They're looking for votes. But the question is, will the New Hampshire primary matter in the long run? That's next on America in the Morning. Back after these messages.
When the work you love involves actual hard work, you need a John Deere Gator utility vehicle. The powerful Gator XUV 825i has a 1,400-pound payload and seating that accommodates up to 4 people, so you can get whatever and whoever, anywhere they need to go. Visit your John Deere dealer today. Live for what you do. Go Gator.
You can find Atlantic Tractor on the web at atjd.net or at myjohndeeredealer.com. Atlantic Tractor, we live it.
Geico applauds your inner ride leader.
An enthusiastic engine rev goes out to the biker in you who leads the pack. Even if that pack is a party of one, you're still a leader to Geico. To prove it, Geico will insure your motorcycle with great rates and 24/7 customer service. And with Geico by your side, you're never cruising solo. Which means you've just been nominated as a real ride leader. Congrats! The smell of fine leather and trailblazing is in your future.
Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save.
Thanks for listening to Delaware 105.9 on your radio. And for your convenience, streaming live online. Visit Delaware105.9.com to hear local news and talk for Delmarva online, streaming 24/7. Sponsored in part by Dart First State. Let Dart do the driving. Save money, save gas, ride greener. Bus routes statewide between Rehoboth, Georgetown, Dover, and Wilmington. Delaware 105.9. Streaming live at Delaware105.9.com.
Because Dad tried to fix his septic problem himself, a goldfish funeral just got interesting.
We're gathered here today to say goodbye to Goldie the goldfish. He was a great fish and...
He's still there, Dad.
What's it?
Dad, he's not going down. Maybe he's still alive.
Oh, that's it. I'm calling Midway Services.
For more than 25 years, Midway Services has been counted on in Kent and Sussex counties for all aspects of your septic system, including inspection and troubleshooting, and septic repairs and maintenance.
They come in recommend one like you call Midway Services.
Delaware 105.9.
14 minutes after the hour now on America in the Morning. It's very wet on the East Coast. Let's find out if that's going to continue as we check in with AccuWeather.com meteorologist Heather Zare.
The heavy rain has lifted for the most part out of the mid-Atlantic now. It still has to clear all of New Jersey and the New York City area, but for the most part, it's New England that is going to have to deal with a heavy rainfall for today, and especially the eastern part of New England. 3 to as much as 6 inches of rain is a possibility north of Boston and up through Portland and pretty much all of eastern Maine. At least an inch of rain and up to 3 inches places like Hartford and Albany and on up into Burlington. We'll still have some showers that will linger through the rest of the mid-Atlantic, but it's not going to be nearly as wet as it was yesterday. We'll still have some shower and thunderstorm activity that can extend all the way down to the Gulf Coast as well, but again, it's going to be lighter and more scattered. Most of the rest of the country is going to have dry weather. We'll see a lot of sunshine still for the West Coast and just a few patches of clouds starting to show up. The Southwest especially is going to be pretty sunny. In the middle of the country, we have some clouds around, and while there might be a shower or two in places like Colorado and Wyoming and western Kansas, we're not going to see any precipitation of consequence. Farther to the east, across the Tennessee Valley, we're going to see clouds eventually giving way to sunshine, although it is going to be a slow process and it may take until the end of the day to really clear out. And that's the weather across America. In Atlanta, Georgia today, a shower or thunderstorm around, plenty of clouds at a high of 81. And in Albany, New York, we're going to see heavy rain this morning. Watch for flooding. The rain will taper off this afternoon, high 61. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The National Hurricane Center has upgraded Joaquin to a hurricane in the Atlantic. Flash flood watches have been issued for western North Carolina, the path uncertain. Now 15 past the hour on America in the Morning. I'm Michael Toscano here for Jim Bohannon. And if you are in New Hampshire, you're probably bumping into would-be presidents every time you turn around. Ryan Noble's now on the quadrennial swarm.
Every election cycle, eager presidential candidates flock to New Hampshire to meet and greet with potential voters.
Thank you.
Let's start with some.
In town halls, schools, businesses, and of course, diners. It's an effort to gain supporters in the first-in-the-nation presidential primary. But why is New Hampshire such a launch pad? Quite simply, New Hampshireites want it that way.
We do have a state law here that requires the Secretary of State to set the date of the New Hampshire primary 1 week before any similar contest.
Professor Andrew Smith co-authored the book, The First Primary. He says the state became the first primary in the nation largely by accident. In 1916, the state combined a tradition called Town Meeting Day with their primary, which at that time was not that important. It wasn't until 1952, when the primary process started playing a direct role in picking the nominee, that the state began to serve as a testing ground for candidates.
It's not a guarantee that you're going to win the nomination. It's largely a winnowing process.
Granted, state voters may not always get it right, but they have a pretty good record of determining the eventual nominee. Since 1952, New Hampshire primary voters backed 9 of 16 eventual Democratic nominees, and on the GOP side, a whopping 13 of 16 winning candidates went on to gain the Republican nomination. This year, New Hampshire's primary is February 9th. And up until then, expect the presidential hopefuls to court voters at diner counters from Nashua to Concord and every place in between.
It's more than just an election here. It's kind of a cultural happening.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Ryan Nobles.
Well, it turns out Medicare has paid out $30 million for mystery ambulance rides. Scott Carr is on that for us.
Pointing to a long-standing problem with ambulance fraud. The detailed audit from the Department of Health and Human Services scrutinized more than 7 million ambulance rides since the first half of 2012. 4 of the nation's larger cities seem to be breeding grounds for ambulance schemes. Philadelphia, Los Angeles, New York, and Houston accounted for about half of the questionable rides and payments. The audit says some ambulance services were paid for driving an average distance of more than 100 miles per ride, despite a national average of 10 miles per ride. Scott Carr, Washington.
Ghost patients and taxpayer alike taken for a ride there. In sports, the Los Angeles Dodgers wrapped up their 3rd consecutive National League West title with an 8-0 shutout of the Giants in San Francisco. The Toronto Blue Jays were rained out in Baltimore, but their magic number to win the LA East was reduced to 1 when the New York Yankees lost 10-4 in Boston. A check on Wednesday Morning Business. Jim Roop brings us a tale about star searching on your computer. That and more when we return right after these messages.
Advance Auto Parts knows what makes a car guy a car guy. It's the commitment to maintain an engine through the 300,000-mile mark. It's burning the midnight oil to finish a job most guys would rather hand off. It's loyalty, and it's why there's speed perks from Advance Auto Parts. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense. Advance Auto Parts, for guys who love getting under the hood.
See store to sign up or visit speedperks.com for details.
Before girls' night out, my eczema flared up. Ugh, I felt like canceling. But then I tried Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief. It's specially formulated for eczema and has 1% hydrocortisone, the strongest non-prescription itch medicine for fast, lasting itch relief. It quickly stopped the itch and soothed my red, dry, flaky skin. With Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief, I was ready for girls' night out, and it was the best one ever.
Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief. Feel the heal. Use as directed.
Meet Vince. Vince hurt himself mountain biking on Saturday.
Because weekend warrior.
Because noob.
Hey.
Vince is supposed to host an important presentation, but he's not going anywhere in that cast. What should he do?
Rhetorical question.
Vince should try GoToMeeting, the simple way to host meetings online, complete with video conferencing and screen sharing. Send out a meeting link and anyone can join from any computer, tablet, or smartphone. Just takes a click.
Where do I sign up?
Visit GoToMeeting.com to start your free 30-day trial. That's GoToMeeting.com.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
Call 1-800-358-7816. That's 1-800-358-7816.
21 past the hour now, and time to check in on business. Here's CNBC's Tom Busby.
Good morning, Michael. Today is the last day of September and the final day of the third quarter, and both have been pretty horrible for stocks. And how the markets trade today could depend on some information from ADP. The payment processing company is expected to report that private employers hired 200,000 new workers last month. Now, that would be a few thousand more than they did in August and would be a good sign coming just 2 days before the government releases its all-important September jobs report. We also hear from Chicago purchasing managers. A report expected to show business in the Midwest may have contracted a little bit again this month. Unless a stopgap budget deal passes in Congress today, the federal government will run out of money at midnight Eastern Time tonight. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen speaking to some community bankers in St. Louis. And the very first American dollar will be auctioned off today. The 1794 silver coin could bring in as much as $5 million.
Asian stock markets higher in Wednesday trading. Markets in Europe are trading really well now, up over 2%. Benchmark U.S. crude oil below $45 a barrel. The dollar gaining against the yen and the euro. And Tom, is the government going to shut down tonight?
Well, it looks like the federal government will stay open at least for a few more weeks. The Senate votes this morning on a short-term stopgap funding bill that does not cut money for Planned Parenthood, and so with the help of Senate Democrats, it's expected to pass there. Then it's on to the House in the afternoon, where again we're expecting it to pass. That bill being voted on today provides about $13 billion more in defense spending, more than what the president requested, and $700 million in emergency funding to fight wildfires. Now, this bill will only fund the federal government through December 11th, so we'll all be going through this again in just about 10 more weeks.
I can hardly wait. Thanks, Tom Busby. 23 past the hour now on America in the Morning. So you're cruising around the internet looking for the latest dish on your favorite celebrity, and bam, there goes your computer. Jim Roop tells us what to look out for so that doesn't happen.
Intel Security Group has released its annual list of the most dangerous names to search online. Britney Spears is among the top 5 most dangerous names. Searching for Spears or R&B singer Usher or country crooner Luke Bryan, Jay-Z or Amy Schumer could take you to a tainted site that would infect your computer with all kinds of problems, viruses, malware, or worse.
It doesn't surprise me that it's celebrity names that are attached to these links.
USC professor and cybersecurity expert Clifford Newman says cyber attackers are going to use what is most searched by users, and that is celebrities. He says there is a 3-pronged approach to this type of attack.
One, they set up the website, and the website is configured in a way that when a browser goes to it, if the settings are in a vulnerable manner on the browser, certain things may be automatically downloaded.
2, these attackers manipulate the search engine spam that makes the tainted sites come up first, so you're more likely to click onto those sites.
The third part of the attack is that the client's or the user's browser needs to be vulnerable in certain ways.
First, he says, make good use of antivirus software and not the free stuff.
Part of this is checking for active protection that will look at the pages as they are being downloaded instead of just what some of the free antivirus systems do, just scanning the things that are actually on your disk.
And then, says Professor Newman, adjust your browser's settings.
Nowadays, you probably don't want to be automatically running Adobe Flash, for example, even though there are a lot of websites that need that. You might want to actually require it to prompt you before it runs certain things like that, because this is one of the vulnerable pieces of software that often does cause problems.
And just be careful. As innocent as it may seem, you'd be surprised at what names can be dangerous.
That's more people than I've dated for.
That's right. Even sweet Betty White is on the danger list. Search safely. Jim Roop, Los Angeles.
No, not Betty White. Remember, if your computer's sneezing, it may have a virus. 25 past the hour.
Who got the marijuana? Who got the pot?
A look at the nation's first marijuana resort. Next on America in the Morning. Back after these messages.
How fast are Allegra gel caps? It's raking the leaves and loving it fast. How strong are Allegra gel caps?
I'm running with my favorite workout partner, Strong.
Non-drowsy Allegra gel caps give you noticeable relief of your toughest allergy symptoms. It starts working in just 1 hour, 2 times faster than Claritin's first dose, and stays strong for 24 hours.
It's saying yes to pick up football with the guys, Strong.
Allegra gel caps. Nothing's faster, nothing's stronger. Among OTC oral antihistamines. Use only as directed. Visit Allegra.com.
Geico applauds your inner happy camper.
A merit badge of awesomeness goes out to the part of you that wants to put the recreation in recreational vehicle. The part of you that packs up everything and everybody in the RV and says, let's get this show on the road. Because Geico has specialized agents who help save money on more than just car insurance. Geico will insure that entire RV, so you can get the s'more making, poison ivy dodging, same song singing, ghost storytelling, campfire building, best time you ever had with your family show on the road.
Geico for your RV. See how much you could save.
Back to work and school driving time again. Now at your locally owned and operated Ocean Area Tire Goodyear service facility, open 7 days a week in Ocean Pines, Ocean View, and Route 24 next to Harris Teeter Millsboro. Get up to $120 mail-in rebate on the purchase of 4 select Goodyear or Dunlop tires on your Goodyear credit card. See dealer for details. Want a great all-season tire? Check out the new Kelly Edge AS tire, a great choice when it comes to all-season traction for everyday driving. Or check out the Goodyear Assurance line of passenger tires. The Assurance all season is great for everyday driving and are backed by a 65,000-mile Tread Life limited warranty. Now through September 30th, you can get a mail-in rebate up to $80 with the purchase of a set of 4 Assurance all-season tires on your Goodyear credit card. See dealer for details. Make arrangements today for a free end-of-summer inspection at Ocean Area Tire Goodyear Service Centers in Ocean Pines, Ocean View, and Route 24 next to Harris Teeter Millsboro, all offering courtesy shuttle, child play area, and towing availability. They're located where you need them to be.
Delaware 105.9.
Joe Ramsey now on a South Dakota Sioux tribe opening up the nation's first marijuana resort.
The small Santee Sioux tribe already has a successful casino, and now it's opening a marijuana resort on its reservation. The experiment could be a new moneymaker for tribes nationwide seeking economic opportunities beyond casinos. Legalization for the tribe came in June after the Justice Department outlined a new policy allowing Indian tribes to grow and sell marijuana under the same conditions as some states. Santee Sioux leaders plan to grow their own pot and sell it in a smoking lounge that includes a nightclub, arcade games, and bar and food service, saying it could generate up to $2 million a month in profit. The first joints are expected to go on sale New Year's Eve. I'm Joe Ramsey.
And if the tribe makes enough money, they can always open up a joint account. September 30th birthdays, Rat Pack gal pal actress Angie Dickinson is 84 years old, and chances are singer Johnny Mathis is 80 today. On this day back in 1960, the Flintstones made their debut on ABC. This is America in the Morning for Wednesday, September 30th, 2015. Our producer is Tom Delac. Associate producer and webmaster is Paul Hill. Senior producer is Kevin Delaney. We are at jimbotalk.net. I'm Michael Toscano for Jimbo Hannon, and this is Westwood One.
Join us this Saturday for the Delmarva Potting Shed. I am Valerie Cordry, one of the hosts. Every Saturday from 9 to 11, Jake Smith and I will be broadcasting live from East Coast Garden Center. Be a part of our lively discussions about plants, landscaping, garden design, and all that's new and exciting. We'll sprinkle in some gardening guests to excite your interest and keep you up to date on the many interesting gardening happenings.
And the Delmarva Potting Shed brought to you by Lawns Unlimited, the exclusive Mist-Away dealer on Delmarva, installing misting and spraying systems to control insects for residential and commercial lawns. Call 645-5296 today or visit lawnsunlimited.com to get started. Also brought to you by Stokely Materials, providing high-quality pavers, retaining walls, decorative stones, sand, soil, and mulch with 2 locations, Route 113 in Georgetown and Route 9 in Lewis. Don't miss the Delmarva Potting Shed this Saturday from 9 to 11 here on Delaware 105.9.
Know before you go. Get Traffic Watch updates with me, Robin Bryson, and our entire team watching Delmarva roadways weekday mornings and afternoons on Delaware 105.9.
In the newsroom, Kelly Steele and your update. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Dan. Thank you. Officials across Delmarva right now monitoring the weather as Tropical Storm Joaquin now has maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour, and it could reach hurricane strength today. According to the National Weather Center, the storm's latest position is about 360 miles east of the northwestern Bahamas. Joaquin could ride up the east coast throughout the weekend, bringing with it double-digit rainfall for Delmarva. A state task force is all set to begin weighing various options for expanding port operations in Delaware. The task force is scheduled, in fact, to receive presentations today regarding responses from consulting firms interested in conducting a long-term strategic study of Wilmington port operations. Your forecast, mostly cloudy and humid with occasional rain today, a high of 78 degrees. Cloudy with more rain tonight, an overnight low of 61. CBS News is next at 5:31.
CBS News update. Her husband was stabbed and beaten to death 18 years ago. She was part of the plot. Now Kelly Gisendowner has been executed in Georgia. WMAZ-TV's Randall Savage witnessed the lethal injection.
There was nothing botched about it, nothing with blood coming out or anything like that. So just once after the juice started flowing in her, she was singing that Amazing Grace, and she sang that all the way through, and then she started losing the color in her face, and it wasn't long she was pronounced dead.
It was shortly after midnight today. Gisendowner's daughter, Kayla, stood outside the prison with about 100 others.
We were not able to see our mom because the boards of pardons and paroles made us make a choice to either come try and save her life or go see her. So we chose to try and save her life, and they still denied us.
Pope Francis's representative in this country attempted to have Gisendowner's sentence commuted. She's the 16th woman to be executed in this country since the Supreme Court approved the death penalty. CBS News Update, I'm Dave Barrett.
The comments, views, and opinions expressed on the air at Delaware 105.9 are those of the hosts, callers, and guests, and not those of staff, management, or advertisers at Delmarva Broadcasting Company.
A new study published in Toxicology in Vitro found that up to 6 hours of cellular exposure to e-cigarette vapor left lung tissue unaffected while cigarette smoke damaged the same tissue. The authors concluded that data suggests that e-cigarette aerosols have significantly less impact than cigarette smoke. Another study in Regulatory Toxicology and Pharmacology found that use of e-cigarettes showed less magnitude of increase in blood pressure and heart rate than cigarette smoking, and that use of e-cigarettes had no impact on exhaled carbon monoxide levels, whereas the traditional cigarette significantly increased the exhaled carbon monoxide more than 8 times above normal. They further concluded that e-cigarettes could be a less harmful alternative for a tobacco user. Have you considered reducing your smoking risk by switching to the electronic cigarette? Come to one of Delmar Vapor Lounge's convenient locations on Route 113 in Millsboro at the Mill Pond Plaza, or Route 13 in the Food Line Shopping Plaza in Delmar, where you can still try an e-cigarette before you buy one.
Take Delaware 105.9 with you everywhere by streaming us on your smartphone or tablet. Download the Delaware 105.9 Listen Live app in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store today. Live streaming brought to you in part by Weller's Utility Trailers in Bridgeville, where they sell utility trailers new and used, as well as sheds, carports, gazebos, dog kennels, and swing sets. Give them a call at 302-337-8228 or on the web at wellers.com. On air, on demand, and on your device. Delaware 105.9.
Local, homegrown, not words you hear that often, but they still have a lot of value that says we're here to prove ourselves every day. And it's no different at Concord Pet's newest store at 1518 South Salisbury Boulevard in Salisbury. So visit and find out how Concord Pet still tries to earn your business with friendly customer service, including carrying those heavy bags to the car. At 1518 South Salisbury Boulevard. Welcome to Concord Pets. September. The days are shorter, but the weather's still great. Enjoy every moment with your pets with the help of Concord Pet Food and Supplies. Look for these great specials. Science Diet dog food is only $39.99 in the 38.5-pound bag. And all varieties of Broth's Gourmet Cat Food by Fancy Feast in 1.4-ounce bags are 10 for $10. As September days shorten, enjoy every minute with your pets with the help of the place that loves all pets. Concord Pet. With 29 locations, there's bound to be a Concord Pet Food and Supplies near you.
Welcome back to Delaware Housing Matters, where we talk about everything housing. Let's go to our next caller. Mark, are you still on the line?
Yes, hi. My family has outgrown our house, and we need more space now that the kids are bigger. Someone mentioned that the Delaware State Housing Authority has great low rates, but I thought they only help first-time buyers?
Not anymore. The Housing Authority helps both first-time and repeat buyers. Welcome Home helps first-time buyers navigate the home buying process, and Home Again works with repeat buyers, whether you're downsizing or need a larger home, like you guys. Both programs offer great low rates and fees and have down payment and closing cost assistance available.
Do I have to buy a home in certain areas?
Nope, these programs are offered statewide. Visit DSHA's website for more information. It's destatehousing.com. Or you can call them toll-free, 888-363-8808.
Thanks. I didn't know that.
Well, glad we could help. Let's go to our next caller. Caller, are you there?
Brought to you by Delaware State Housing Authority. Delaware's key to housing in the first state since 1968.
The Dan Gaffney Show begins its broadcast day from the opulent new studios of the Delmarva Broadcasting Company's Delaware 105.9 inside the Gaffney Broadcasting Complex. And now, join us as we stand for the playing of our national anthem.
That's a little goofy, especially when you're going into the national anthem.
You know these people that film the police, and then post it on the internet? Are they doing a public service or a disservice? 839-1059. It's more and more popular. More and more people do. Maybe you've seen the internet where, somebody gets stopped by the police and they don't want to give their name. They don't want to show ID. They're very technical with the police, challenging their authority, telling them, you can't ask me that. And why are you stopping me? Why are you stopping me? And they film the police. They're hoping to get a reaction. I don't know if they're hoping to get the police tasing them on video or not. But they're trying to get a police officer irritated. They're trying to show, some of these people are freedom campaigners. And they're trying to show that everybody has certain rights that are being abused by police, in their opinion. Other people, I don't know what they're doing. They're just challenging authority, whatever. But it's the world we're in where everybody's got a video camera in their pocket. And so, hey, we're getting stopped by the cops. We better film it. There's also a lot of paranoid people and suspicious people. They've heard stories about police abuse, and so they want to film it to kind of be a check or a balance against the police. And there are all sorts of reasons people are doing it, but if you've perused the internet or even watched television news at all, you probably have seen a few of these videos where people are videoing the police, they get a camera in the face, and they're getting a back and forth going. Are these people doing valuable public service for the most part, or a disservice? I'm going to play one of these. This is a very, very interesting one, and I don't even know where it's from, but it's popular right now on the internet. And I'm going to play the audio of a man who had been flying a drone outside of a police headquarters, filming the police, and he was on the sidewalk, and an officer came up and wanted to know what he was doing, and who are you? Guy didn't want to say. Whole exchange is on film, on tape, recorded actually, digitally recorded. So I'm looking at the comments after people watch this video and listen to the video, and people are split. Like, this guy's great. I'm glad he stood his ground. Other people are saying he's a jerk. This is why police are beating people up. Jerks like this guy. You know, so the people are torn, and I kind of want to know what my audience thinks. This morning, you got to hear this audio. I'm going to actually go into the Dan Gaffney cinema and play this for you. It's fascinating. It's only like 3 minutes long, and we're going to put that on the air in just a minute. You're going to hear this exchange between a man with a camera who had been flying a drone and filming, and an officer. And then you're going to hear the officer's sergeant. And what he said, you're not going to believe. How's that? A radio version of clickbait. What the sergeant said to the deputy, you're not going to believe. Stand by. Right? Good morning. This is the Dan Gaffney program. But the main question I have early for you early risers, these people that do this filming, I think you know what I'm talking about. Are these people doing, for the most part, a valuable public service, or are they doing a disservice by getting up into police's business, irritating the cops? 839-1059. A lot of things happening here on the program. Today, we are tracking Joaquin, that storm in the Atlantic. We'll talk about that and keep you up to date with that. CBS News, recapping the execution of a woman last night. That will be covered in the news today. In Delaware, your health care premiums under Obamacare are going up in double digits percentage. Woo! We'll talk a little bit about that. Fraudulent Delaware doctors in the news. We've got that story to ask you about. All right. Also on my list here, I'll just tell you what's on my list. I don't know if we're going to get to all of this. Porn magazines in the Redden Forest. Why? All right, we'll tell you about that story in a moment. What's the matter, Kelly? Kelly, you're shaking your head. That's a real story.
Porn magazines in the forest?
Yes, believe it or not. So we'll talk about that. Trump's tax cut is still out there. I want to know if Delaware is ready for that. Delaware ready for the tax cut, so we have that story today. There's just a whole list of things here. Some things I'm not going to get to, but I also want to do something else today in the 8 o'clock hour. I'm going to, again, at great risk, try a new theme hour today. Going to try something called the Advice Hour, where you give advice on something. Life advice, work advice. Anything you've learned that you think would be helpful to someone in my audience. I want you to give advice. And it could be about minor things. One thing I've learned when cutting the grass is whatever. One thing I've learned when building a cabinet is, or when using a table saw, it could be something minor, something little, or it could be a big life advice thing. One thing I've learned in my life, Dan, is that with your children, you should, or whatever. And it could be because you're good at something or you're successful at something. You think you've achieved a little bit of success and you want to give a little advice. I want to hear the advice. It could be because you're a failure. You've failed miserably at something. And you don't want anybody else to do what you did. I've gotten some great advice in my life from people who have failed. That's right.
One thing I want to tell you, don't start smoking
before they die. Good advice. They wish they would have taken their own advice. If they could give advice to themselves 50 years earlier, that's the advice they would have given themselves. So why not share that with everybody? An advice hour. Be thinking about it. I'm mentioning it now because I'd love you to listen in at 8 o'clock. And I'd love you to call in the 8 o'clock hour. So that's coming up. Just want to tell you. Okay? All right, let's get to this video. Good morning. This is the Dan Gaffney program. Everybody doing all right? 544 here. Everybody doing okay? Colin Walls is here. We're on video this morning on YouTube, youtube.com. We are streaming our show, live video, 3 cameras. Search the Dan Gaffney Show. It's fun. Got big plans cooking for this 3-camera setup here that we have not really talked about on the air because we can't. But big plans that we're hoping will come together. Okay? That's why. We're not just playing around. Colin is not just playing around. He's got big plans that have yet to be revealed even to my own coworkers.
Colin just likes to get up early.
Even my own coworkers don't know what's going on.
You're keeping secrets from me?
Haven't said a peep.
I don't like it.
But it's you can go to YouTube and see the Dan Gaffney Show if you want to see what goes on in the studio.
My advice for you, Danny, this morning is don't keep secrets from me.
Right. All right, let's get the show started. I'm talking about a lot about what's going on and a lot about what we're going to be doing on the show. The advice hour, 8 o'clock. We're going to try that. What if nobody calls? What if Dan tried a theme hour and nobody calls? That would be terrible. But it also means that I'm not going to let the fear of that stop me from trying what I think is a good idea. So we're going to do that at 8 o'clock. Got to take risks. Can't just, do the same old all the time. And ask, do the same things. You always got to try new things. So we're going to try that today. I'm actually looking forward to hearing some advice from you on a lot of different things. So that's 8 o'clock hour. Thinking about it. If you're listening now, you're going to be listening then. I hope you'll call. But let's get to the topic in hand here. People who film the cops and then post it on video. They have some sort of cantankerous interaction with the police and they post it. We're going to play one for you in a minute. And what I want to know in general, the people that do this filming of the police, are they doing a great public service or a disservice? All right, your call's coming up. Good morning. It's Delaware 105.9.
Live local news and a CBS News update every hour on the hour throughout your busy day. We've got you covered every day. Delaware 105.9.
Your weather forecast, meteorologist Steve Williams.
Today, mostly cloudy, humid, occasional rain, and high 78. Plenty of clouds, a little rain tonight, breezy, low 61. Windy and cooler, rain tomorrow, high 64. And then rain again tomorrow evening. It'll be a windy night. Some of that rain could be heavy at times, low 60. It'll be windy on Friday, periods of rain again, some heavy. Watch out for some flooding. A high on Friday of 63. I'm Steve Williams in the Delaware 105.9 Weather Center.
Join us this Saturday for the Delmarva Potting Shed. I am Valerie Cordry, one of the hosts. Every Saturday from 9 to 11, Jake Smith and I will be broadcasting live from East Coast Garden Center. Be a part of our lively discussions about plants, landscaping, garden design, and all that's new and exciting. We'll sprinkle in some gardening guests to excite your interest and keep you up to date on the many interesting gardening happenings.
And the Delmarva Potting Shed brought to you by Lawns Unlimited, the exclusive Mist Away dealer on Delmarva, installing misting and spraying systems to control insects for residential and commercial lawns. Call 645-5296 today or visit lawnsunlimited.com to get started. Also brought to you by Stokely Materials, providing high-quality pavers, retaining walls, decorative stones, sand, soil, and mulch with 2 locations, Route 113 in Georgetown and Route 9 in Lewis. Don't miss the Delmarva Potting Shed this Saturday from 9 to 11 here on Delaware 105.9.
Come take advantage of the Sunfest savings at Burling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Take $12,000 off with any trade on select new 2015 Ram trucks in stock. Crew cabs, 4x4s, even the Ram 1500. Take $12,000 off of MSRP. And Burling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram will take any trade, even if you still owe thousands on it. New 2015 Jeep Renegade Sport, just $249 per month lease. Have a job clearing $350 a week? We want to approve your credit today. 2015 Chrysler 200, Grand Caravans, even the all-new Jeep Renegade, just $249 per month lease.
Remember, Jim wants to see you in the coolest small town in America, Berlin, Maryland.
Berlin Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Old Ocean City Boulevard, Berlin, Maryland.
Qualified buyers. Credit may affect terms. Balance of trade carried over to new loan. Discount based on MSRP of $47,835 with $4,500 factory rebates to dealer and $7,500 dealer discount. Model number DS6H98. Renegade 42-month, 10,000 mile per year lease. No security deposit plus tax tag dealer processing. Offers not in combination.
LaBred Health Center is a patient-centered medical home where a dedicated team of healthcare professionals take responsibility for the comprehensive quality healthcare provided to patients and arrange for appropriate care with other qualified providers as needed. Highly accessible and affordable, LaBred Health Center offers pediatric and primary care, adult and senior services, behavioral health services, women health services, and oral health care, including exams, screenings, cleanings, restorations, extractions, and fillings. LaBred Health Center accepts most insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, works with people who currently do not have health insurance, and is accepting new patients of all ages. Although LaBred Health Center is not a free clinic, income documentation may qualify uninsured patients for LaBred Health Center's sliding fee scale. Whether you've lived in Sussex County your whole life, recently moved here, or are just visiting the area, LaBred Health Center, with convenient locations in Georgetown, Milford, and Seaford, can help meet your medical needs and become a network of quality care centered around you and your family. Call today to make an appointment at 302-855-1233 or online at LaBredHealthCenter.org.
In the pursuit of greatness, you're out there searching for ways to put more bushels in the bin at harvest, and the team at DuPont Pioneer is with you. When you're testing new technologies, trying new agronomic practices, and doing whatever else it takes, we're with you. And when you're thinking about how you'll continue to be a good steward of the land for the next generation to follow, we're there too. Pioneer, with you from the word go. As a soybean grower, what's it mean when DuPont Pioneer says we're with you from the word go?
We deliver seed when, where, and how you need it.
We have varieties that stand up to frog eye leaf spot and many other diseases.
Your local Pioneer team is on call to deliver the service, products, and information you need for your soybean acres.
You call, we're there.
Pioneer brand soybeans are built to produce and protect yield on your ground year after year. Pioneer, with you from the word go.
Extraordinary in every detail. Experience the classic craft difference with a premium entryway that's truly unique and uncompromising in every detail from Therma-Tru doors and Wyoming millwork in Camden and Milton. Discover an inspired blend of precision engineering and architectural character that produce a fiberglass entryway that performs as exceptionally as it looks. It's the choice builders prefer because everything about a Therma-Tru classic craft premium entryway looks, feels, and sounds like an authentic solid wood door. Plus, durable, energy-efficient, low-maintenance features make it a smart long-term investment. Join the millions of satisfied homeowners and building professionals who have already realized the confidence and peace of mind that comes with a Classic Craft Premium Entryway. Classic Craft Premium Entryways from Therma-Tru Doors and Wyoming Millwork. Let them bring your dream entryway to life. Visit Wyoming Millwork at their location in Camden or Milton, or check them out online at wyomingmillwork.com.
Hi, it's me, Jared Morris, and I invite you to come cruise with me on the Carnival Pride 7-day Eastern Caribbean cruise. Don't miss the boat. The next cruise begins April 3rd, 2016, but now's the time to reserve your cabin on board the Carnival Pride out of Baltimore with stops in Grand Turk, Half Moon Cay, and Freeport in the Bahamas. And you can cruise with us for as little as $807.66 per person for double occupancy. Plus, each cabin receives an open bar cocktail party and a $25 onboard credit. If you're interested, if you're just thinking about it, reserve your cabin today for just $50 by contacting Cindy at Bethany Travel Dream Vacations. Call them at 302-933-0955 or go to their website, www.dreamvacationinc.com. Now, when you call, tell them you want to cruise with Delaware 105.9. Yeah, you do. Call Bethany Travel Dream Vacations at 302-933-0955. Remember Jared Morris today at 3 on Delaware 105.9.
All right, let's play this video. This is a man who apparently had been flying a drone outside of State Police headquarters. Not in Delaware. This is not Delaware. I can tell by the uniforms. I don't know where it is. But he's having an interaction with a uniformed officer on the sidewalk by the road in front of a fenced-in police headquarters. Okay?
If you want my name, I'll give you everything. Who are you?
I don't need to provide that.
Yes, you do.
All right, now this is the uniformed guy with his Smokey Bear hat and all that. You know, he's got the whole look. Who are you? You know, he's right in center frame. The man he's talking to is obviously the guy holding the camera. Who are you? Guy with the camera, you heard him. I don't have to tell you.
No, I don't.
If I'm asking you who you are and why you're videotaping our facility, you have to provide me with some kind of identification. So do you have identification?
To require identification under the law, you need to be able to articulate a crime that I'm about to commit or I have committed.
Okay. You're going around, you're videotaping our state police facility for no apparent reason, and if I'm asking you who you are, you have to provide me with identification.
I don't have to, no.
It's just like anything else.
No, it's not.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
All right. You have to provide me with identification. No, I don't. You're not charging me with anything. You're not articulating what I'm being charged with. Right? It's antagonizing the officer, right? But on the flip side, you could say the officer is antagonizing him. All right, let's listen to the rest. There's more here, and a sergeant gets involved at the end, and you won't believe what he says. Coming up.
In fact, your public information officer already has dealt with this here, and so has a few other officers, so...
I don't care who's dealt with it. I'm asking you for identification because I want to know who you are right now. Well, and I want to know what your reason is for videotaping our facility.
Well, first of all, Supreme Court has covered that filming out in public is perfectly legal.
I don't care what the
And that is not a suspicion of crime, so therefore you have no suspicion of crime.
Listen, you can cite whatever you want.
Right.
Why are you videotaping? That's what I'm asking right now.
I don't have to answer that.
Well, I want to see a form of identification, identifying who you are, why you're outside my facility right now videotaping us.
I don't have to provide that either.
Why not? Why do you feel that you do not have to perform any form of
Because
identification?
that's the law.
No, it's not. If
Yes,
you're
it
out
is.
here and I want to know why you're videotaping our facility and you have to provide me some form of identification, you just can't come and walk away anytime you want and just come up with your things and fly them over our lot. I want to know who you are and why you're videotaping.
All right, hold on. Second police officer arriving behind the first. You might have heard the siren in the background. He was driving down the road. Now, we're only a minute or so into, what are we, we're only a minute and a half into about a 3-minute clip. And there's more to come here, but we're going to hear it all. But what I want to hear from you are these people that are doing this. Are these folks doing a valuable public service? Or are they doing a disservice? Let's take a quick call before we hear the rest of this. Good morning, Delaware 105.9.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Well, one thing I thought was interesting was the police officer. I mean, even I know if someone's standing across the street from my house taking pictures of my house, they're not breaking the law. I don't like it, but...
Right, so right away, who's harassing who, right?
Right, but I also think that this guy is intentionally taunting him.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a fine line everywhere, but...
Look, let me ask you this before we run out of time for this segment, before we really get into this after the news, but you've seen these on the internet. There's a lot of them, all kinds of varieties of them. Generally speaking, are these people filming doing a service or a disservice?
No, I think they're doing a disservice. I think a lot of them mean good intent, but I think a lot of them are just, like the ones that are going on YouTube with fights and things like that.
No, I'm not talking about fights. I'm talking about arguments with police, okay?
Police. I think they're just people with phones trying to get a shot or something, and then they post it where I see a piece of it.
Right on. Listen, we're going to tell you more. We'll hear the end.
Local news first on Delaware 105.
And Delaware Reacts. I want to know what you think here in the first state, so we'll be taking your calls. Kelly!
Delaware 105.9 News Time. Dan is 5:59. Good morning. Meteorologist Steve Williams says, it's not going to be the best weather the next couple of days. Today, mostly cloudy, humid, occasional rain, a high of 78. Tonight looks cloudy, more rain, an overnight low of 61. Thursday, windy and cooler with rain, a high of 64. On Friday, windy with heavy rain, flooding possible on Friday, a high of 63 degrees. A woman is charged with dumping bleach and rubbing alcohol on her live-in boyfriend and then setting him on fire. Salisbury police say the victim survived the attack Monday morning. It happened at a house In the 600 block of Fitzwater Street, 53-year-old Natalie Robinson is charged in the crime. She's being held this morning without bail. From the first town in the first state, this is WXDE Lewis. A rainy morning already out there, 73 degrees on the beach in Lewis. It's 6 o'clock. Good morning.
CBS News, I'm Frank Sedapani. Georgia has executed a woman for the first time in 70 years. Kelly Gissendaner, convicted of plotting with a lover to kill her husband, died from a lethal injection a little after midnight, despite an 11th-hour plea for clemency from Pope Francis. Newspaperwoman Rhonda Cooks had Gissendaner sang Amazing Grace and apologized for the killing as she was about to die.
It was very intense right up until the end. She reconciled with all three of her children. She had an awakening. She grew in faith while she was in prison and ministered to a lot of inmates. And it was very emotional in the chamber.
Gissendaner's lover was the one who actually killed her husband. He's serving a life sentence. Oklahoma later today is scheduled to carry out its first execution since the Supreme Court upheld the state's lethal drug protocol. Richard Glossop's case is similar to Gissendaner's. He was convicted in connection with a murder that someone else carried out. The drenching rain that swamped the South earlier this week is working its way up the Appalachian Trail all the way to New England. Forecaster Brandon Rubin Oster is on duty at the National Weather Service.
Generally, 1 to 3 inches of rainfall is expected from southeastern New York up all the way up to Maine, and heaviest amounts are expected to be across southern Maine, eastern New Hampshire.
With a lot more rain possible in a few days from Tropical Storm Joaquin, which is approaching hurricane force, a hurricane warning has been issued for the central Bahamas. A UN agency has some advice for anyone who's HIV positive. Don't wait to begin treatment. Live to CBS News correspondent Vicki Barker.
The World Health Organization now says people who test positive for the virus that causes AIDS should be treated immediately and not wait for their immune systems to start showing signs of the disease. This after medical trials showed early treatment keeps HIV-positive people healthier and reduces the risk of transmitting the virus. But most of the world's 37 million people with HIV won't be able to act on the new guidelines because they live in poor countries that can't afford the drugs. Frank?
A report out today says drunk driving is on the decline, but driving under the influence of drugs is becoming more common. 40% of the drivers killed in traffic wrecks in 2013 had been doing drugs. The study author wants public officials to spread the word.
Do some public information and education, because the public is not nearly as aware of drug-impaired driving as it is of alcohol-impaired driving.
Dr. Jim Hedlund says marijuana, which is legal in some states, is the drug of choice for people driving under the influence. The back-and-forth battle for Kunduz, a key city in northern Afghanistan, could be a long one. Government troops are converging on positions Taliban fighters have been holding since earlier in the week. Reporter Suna Engel-Rasmussen has the latest from Kabul via Skype.
They are planting mines around the cities to prevent the reinforcements from arriving. It's going to be a long haul, I think, for the government forces in their attempts to try to take back the city.
S&P futures are up sharply, 22 points ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
Hey neighbor, it's me, that guy 2 desks away that never takes a sick day. Seriously, you can always count on me to show up even if I feel terrible. Which reminds me, I have the flu, and if you're one of the 63% of people that didn't get their flu shot, you can get it from me. You really should get a flu shot at Rite Aid, where you'll also get a free cold and flu protection plan to protect you from people like me. Another reason Rite Aid says with us, it's personal.
Flu vaccines available while supplies last. Age restrictions apply in some states. See pharmacist for details.
Call Quicken Loans now at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
Delaware 105.9 news time is 6:04. Good morning, everybody. Tropical Storm Joaquin is strengthening in the Atlantic and is expected to become a hurricane today. As of 5 o'clock this morning, the National Hurricane Center said the storm was centered about 360 miles east of the northwestern Bahamas. It currently has maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour. Hurricane warnings have already been issued for central Bahamas. Forecasters say further strengthening is expected, and Joaquin again could be upgraded later today. Meantime, weather officials across Delmarva are monitoring the storm, which could affect our weather this weekend with high winds and double-digit rainfall. We'll keep you posted here at Delaware 105.9. Sussex County residents speak out in favor of and against Sun Behavioral Health's application for a psychiatric hospital in Georgetown. Most everyone agreed a mental health facility is needed in Sussex County, but one disagreement was over the amount of beds in the facility. The proposed hospital has 90 beds, while others don't think it needs that many to function. Here are some differings of opinions from Tuesday's hearing.
I think it would be best in another location. Also, I have concerns. We already have the jail near us. Is there talk about transporting prisoners that also have mental health problems to this facility?
And I would certainly hope that Sun is given the opportunity to provide these services to our community so that people like me don't have to stand in front of a judge and argue that someone is bipolar and should receive different treatment than someone who is not bipolar.
The public record is now closed, and the Delaware Health Resources Board will make a decision on that facility that would be located across from the Del Tech campus in Georgetown. Mount Air Farms breaks ground on a new corporate office. Delaware 105.9's John Budler was there yesterday.
Great. Mount Air officials broke ground on a new 45,000 square foot office building at Maryland Camp Road and John J. Williams Highway in Millsboro on Tuesday. President and CEO Paul Downs tells Delaware 105.9 the new building signifies a commitment to Sussex County.
We have 2 feed mills, we have a hatchery, we have grain elevators, but most important, we have most of our people here, including our growers. Without our growers, we wouldn't have a company.
The new headquarters is scheduled to be completed by next summer. It provides office space for up to 200 employees. Mount Air is the largest manufacturing company in Delaware, employing about 3,400 people. In Millsboro, John Budler, Delaware 105.9 News.
Thank you, John. The owner of a Dover pain clinic facing charges of felony health care fraud. Delaware Attorney General's office says its Medicaid Fraud Control Unit conducted a lengthy investigation into various billing practices at ABG Pain Clinic. That's on South State Street. Between late 2012 and late 2013, Dr. Sanad Semerlik owns the clinic and is an anesthesiologist. He faces 6 counts and has been released on $112,000 bail. Semerlik is under orders not to practice medicine or have patient contact and was ordered to surrender his passport. The Justice Department says the alleged fraud included billing for services not provided to patients and submitting claims for services and testing that were not medically necessary, among other alleged schemes. Prosecutors say a tip to the Medical Fraud Control Unit hotline led to their investigation. Delaware 105.9 News Time, 6:08. Time for Schofield on sports.
We start on the high school scoreboard from yesterday. In field hockey, Delmar remains unbeaten with a 2-1 win over Dover. Jamie Troubadour scored a pair of goals as Polytech moves to 5-0, beating Indian River 3-0. Cape rolls over Laurel 12-0. CR beats Smyrna 3-1. Sussex Tech beat Lake Forest 2-1, and Woodbridge cruises over Central 8-0. In boys soccer, Cape moves to 7-0 with a 2-1 win over Indian River. Chris McPoyle nets a hat trick for CR as they beat Delmar 9-1. Derek Bogan scored a pair for Milford, leading them past Dover 4-1, and Sussex Tech shut out Seaford 5-0. Wesley College quarterback Joe Callahan was named to the D3Football.com Team of the Week yesterday. Callahan threw for 414 yards and 3 touchdowns and ran in 3 scores as the Wolverines beat North Central on Saturday 50-49. And in Major League Baseball last night, the O's and Blue Jays were rained out. They'll play a doubleheader today. The Phillies beat the Mets 4-3 and the Nats lost in Atlanta 2-1. That's Schofield on Sports on Delaware 105.9.
From the Delaware 105.9 Weather Center, going to be mostly cloudy and humid with occasional rain today, a high of 78. Tonight looks cloudy with more rain, an overnight low of 61. Out the door temperatures this morning. Yes, you have to go to work and you have to go to school. I'm sorry, it's raining. 75 degrees in Milford, 73 in Dewey Beach right now. I'm Kelly Steele in the Delaware 105.9 newsroom. More of the Dan Gaffney Show coming up on Delaware 105.9.
People filming the police, getting into interactions with the police, and then posting it on the internet. People standing their grounds, saying, look, my rights are this. Don't violate my rights, police. And they film the police, post it on the internet. You've seen these kind of videos. They're all over the place. One of them pops up every couple of days. Are the people that are filming the police and putting it on the internet doing generally speaking, a good public service, or are they doing a disservice? 839-1059. Case in point this morning, this man was flying a drone outside a state police. I don't even know the state. It's not Delaware. I do know that. Flying a drone outside a state police headquarters filming, and then he's on the sidewalk filming with his camera, his cell phone. When the police officer arrives, keep in mind, I'll set the scene for you. They're standing next to a busy road on a sidewalk outside of a fenced-in police headquarters. Okay? They're talking on the sidewalk. The camera is pointed directly at the police officer, and so you will hear him speaking, and you will hear traffic in the background, and you will also hear the guy who's filming speaking. Now, the guy who's filming doesn't want to say his name and doesn't want to give his ID. Because, as he points out, in his opinion, he doesn't have to. He's not being charged with anything. Nothing is being articulated against him. He doesn't have to show his papers to the official, So let's listen in, and I want to know, generally speaking, are these people doing the filming, doing a good public service or disservice? Let's listen into this case. All right, we're finally going to get through it. Because at the end, the police officer's sergeant gets involved. And you won't believe what he says. So let's get to it, shall we?
Who are you?
I don't need to provide that.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
If I'm asking you who you are and why you're videotaping our facility, you have to provide me with some kind of identification. So do you have identification?
To require identification under the law, you need to be able to articulate a crime that I'm about to commit or I have committed.
Okay. You're going around, you're videotaping our state police facility for no apparent reason, and if I'm asking you who you are, you have to provide me with identification.
I don't have to, no.
It's just like anything else.
No, it's not.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
In fact, your public information officer already has dealt with this here, and so has a few other officers, so...
I don't care who's dealt with it. I'm asking you for identification because I want to know who you are right now. Well, I want to know what your reason is for videotaping our facility.
Well, first of all, Supreme Court has covered that filming out in public is perfectly legal.
I don't care what...
And that is not a suspicion of crime, so therefore you have no suspicion of crime.
Listen, you can cite whatever you want.
Right.
Why are you videotaping? That's what I'm asking right now.
I don't have to answer that.
Well, I want to see a form of identification, identifying who you are, why you're outside my facility right now videotaping us.
I don't have to provide that either.
Why not? Why do you feel like you do not have to perform any form of
Because that's the law.
No, it's not. If
yes,
you're out here and I want to know why you're videotaping our facility and you have to provide me some form of identification, you just can't come and walk away anytime you want and just come up with your things and fly them over our lot. I want to know who you are and why you're videotaping this right now.
You probably want to get a supervisor or something.
All right, hold on. Another officer has arrived. And at this point, I would imagine there are a lot of you in the audience so far, before we finish, who are thinking, the guy with the camera is being a real jerk to the cop. But then again, looking at online comments, a lot of people think the cop is being the jerk. Why is he even approaching a private citizen and doing this? So let's continue on, and that's ultimately what we're going to be asking you to call in and answer at 839-1059, if you would. But let's continue on here. This guy with the camera has said, well, we better get a supervisor here. That's what he's talking about right now.
Somebody higher up.
Sure, here's my sergeant. He's coming out right now.
Here comes the sergeant.
And he'll tell you.
Okay, no problem. Hey, Len. He was flying the drone out in front Videotaping. All I'm doing is asking for a form of identification so we can identify who he is. He's refusing.
Stop. Go through first sergeant. Not a problem. Not a problem.
He can videotape as much as he wants. We don't have to get any form of identification.
He can videotape. Not a problem.
All right.
Oh. So you were wrong?
Huh?
You were wrong?
According to my sergeant, yes, I was.
So you learned something today. That's good.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'll reach out to you. Have a good day.
Now he's not. Did you hear the sergeant? No, he's fine. Let him go. You don't have to give your ID, says the sergeant. And so then the guy with the camera is videotaping the original officer walking back to his car. After all that arguing, just, sulking away. Sergeant gave him the smackdown, apparently. Doesn't always work this way. Doesn't always end this way.
You hear me?
I can hear you.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Right now with the drones, there's a lot of this. I said sorry for the inconvenience. Right now with the drones, there's a lot of, I guess you could say, I wouldn't say misinformation, but it's an area that we're not used to dealing with. All right?
Well, that's apparent. I've dealt with your troopers already on this.
Yeah, I'm sure you have it. Not a problem. That's why I came out here. I saw that he was talking to you, so.
You probably should educate them a little bit more on it. It's going to be a more...
It's kind of an area that's new to everybody, and until they have legislation on it...
Which there is none.
Right. So sorry for the inconvenience, okay?
Alrighty, have a good one.
So not only... That was the sergeant. So not only did the sergeant tell the officer, no, because this guy, the citizen is right, the sergeant then apologized. What do you think of that? That doesn't always happen. That does not always happen. All right, these things are being posted more and more, and I'm afraid it's just going to become a regular thing with a lot of people that we're going to film the police doing everything. We're going to film the cops and all of our interactions. And I've already seen there's a lot of copycats. A lot of these videos get millions of views. Millions of views. So a lot of people are, I think, and I'm afraid, trying to antagonize the police because it makes for better video. So I think the police have a really difficult job as they encounter more and more people with cameras. But the big question is that a good thing that the police are going to have to be more cautious? Are these people, by and large, the general idea here, are they doing a good public service or are they doing a disservice? 839-1059. 839-1059. Terry, hello.
Hello, good morning, Dan. I guess as far as just at least some of these being posted, I guess I do appreciate the fact that they're letting people know exactly, within this instance, exactly what the law is, what it's not. But the thing that concerns me with the copycats and the different other people that, like to do this type of thing is kind of like the person who calls 911 when it's not an emergency. Even though they're doing this, I'm just concerned because of how long it took that interaction to take place and how come, there could have been something else going on that officer probably should have been attending to instead of having to worry about this guy that...
Well, okay, on the other hand, here's what people would say to that, right? Here's what others would say to that. That's only the police officer's own fault. There's no reason. They're saying there's no reason to go up to private citizens who are doing nothing illegal and start giving them the business, He could have just kept on driving.
Right. But I don't know. I still would like. I'm a little bit on the sergeant's side as far as the whole thing that legislation really hasn't been passed. They really haven't squared all this type of stuff away. And it goes back to I have no problem with people videotaping, photographing, whatever, just general public stuff. But when they're like, because in this instance, it's almost like he's doing surveillance on the police office. when somebody's standing there for a long period of time, either photographing or videotaping the same thing over and over again, it's going to make even the common citizen suspicious of, okay, who are you and why are you doing this? And for them to then, say, I don't have to answer that, he could have just been very polite and, just said, oh, I'm just, practicing taping and I know that this is legal and I can do this. I'm not offending or bothering or trespassing on anybody else. So this is a good place for me to practice or something like that. They just didn't. They don't have to put the stone wall and say, I don't have to answer your question.
Right. Well, apparently he did. Why not? Why does he have to answer the question?
He doesn't, but he could be a lot more polite in answering the, I don't have to answer your question.
Yeah, I would never behave. I hope I would never. I agree. I hope I would never behave this way. It's just rude to the cop. I mean, it's just unnecessary. Right?
Yeah.
But thank you very much. Good call. Thanks for getting it started there. Let's see what Pat in Rehoboth thinks. Good morning, Pat.
Hey, Dan. How you doing today?
Doing well. Glad to hear you.
Okay. I used to work for Homeland Security, and what that guy was doing is technically against laws under the Homeland Security plan that he would be considered a terrorist spying on a government office, such as a law enforcement building.
Really? You're not allowed to stand on a sidewalk and film a public building? Yes, you are.
No, because
under
the Homeland Security thing, it would be considered a terrorist activity, them planning something with pictures and stuff like that.
Oh, come on. Give me a break. It's not a terrorist activity to film a public building.
Nowadays, that is being considered that. That's why they're trying to get all this paperwork done to take action against these drones, because
then why is the sergeant lately, so why is the sergeant apologizing to the citizen?
Because the sergeant doesn't want to get involved in it because he knows there's things going on against it, but he doesn't have, like he said, all the information to deal with it.
Do you think the guy, when asked if he's not being charged or told what he's being charged with, do you think the guy is right? I don't have to tell you my name.
Technically, yeah, he would have, because, like I said, nowadays that's considered terrorist activity under some rules and regulations of the Homeland Security bill.
Right, and you like that. You see,
this
is ultimately why people are posting this. There's a big segment of our society that says we've gone too far. We're accusing people of things they should not be accused of in a free country. So as an activist, what they're doing is this kind of activity. They're posting these interchanges with the police, saying basically, look, we're freedom fighters here for freedom. And government agencies, including the police, are cracking down on your rights, and we're going to show it to you on camera. So this is the big conflict, right?
And like I've told other people before, the next time something happens, we're going to say, let's see. There should have something happened back then, but they're both scared to do something.
Pat, thanks for your view. Pat in Rehoboth, he's saying the guy should be considered a terrorist, right? I get. Here's Dave in Harrington. Dave, what is your view on this?
Good morning, Dan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, to start with, that gentleman just was on the phone. He don't know what he's talking about when it comes to filming. You can film on, property where to the public anytime you want to, and no one can do anything about it.
Right. Well, he swears you're going to be considered a terrorist.
Well, if that's what they want to put me as, okay, but they would have to prove a lot of things, which they can't do. I've been studying a lot of this stuff for years and years, like 30 years or so, and I know you have that right to do so, and you can stand up against any officer you want to, as long as you're not breaking the law as far as trying to cause bodily harm or whatever.
So now that these people are filming this and posting it, antagonistic interactions with the police, or vice versa, police antagonistic whatever towards citizens, are they doing a service, a valuable service, or a disservice by posting these videos?
It would be a service.
Service, okay.
And now, in some ways, it may not be. You'd have to look at the situation.
Mm-hmm.
some would be a disservice and some would be a service.
Right. Well, certainly exceptions to every rule, but we're talking generalities here.
Exactly. If you've seen, for instance, somebody being pushed around by a police officer, I'm just saying that, then you would be doing a service to the public, because that being on film where they could watch it would be interesting to them, and they could say, well, this officer was out of control, out of step, whatever.
Dave in Harrington, thanks for your call. Good to hear you this morning, bud. Thanks. Hope you stay busy. Let's go to the traffic watch here this morning at 6:24. Robin Bryson.
Dan, we're off to a pretty good start, even with the wet roadways from the rain overnight, standing water in spots where it usually collects and things like that after a decent rain. So just keep that in mind heading out the door this morning. You'll find light activity on the major routes in Kent and Sussex County. In and out of Dover, haven't seen any delays or problems along 13 northbound or southbound. Route 1 through the Dover Toll Plaza runs well. In Sussex County, 13's doing all right through Laurel, through Seaford, up toward the Stein Highway. 113 in and out of Georgetown, not doing too badly so far this morning. I'm Robin Bryson with Traffic Watch on Delaware 105.9.
Today, mostly cloudy, humid, occasional rain, and high 78. Plenty of clouds, a little rain tonight, breezy, low 61. Windy and cooler, rain tomorrow, high 64. And then rain again tomorrow evening. It'll be a windy night. Some of that rain could be heavy at times, low 60. It'll be windy on Friday, periods of rain again, some heavy. Watch out for some flooding, a high on Friday of 63. I'm Steve Williams in the Delaware 105.9 Weather Center.
We are happy to tell you that Lewis, Delaware, light rain, 75. Cloudy, 73, Rehoboth. Circle in Georgetown, also 75 degrees.
McFoy Refrigeration, Heating, and Air Conditioning is a family-owned and operated business here in Delaware with over 50 years of experience handling business customers' needs. Here's Craig McFoy.
We service commercial industrial heating and air conditioning equipment. We do our best to keep it running and operating for the business owners, to keep them running and operating. Any business, any size, we'll take care of their facility.
Don't leave your business's specialty cooling and refrigeration needs to just anyone. Call McFoy for 24/7 emergency service.
As the service calls come in daily, they're taken care of daily. We know our business owners personally. We talk to them. They call us directly. If they have an emergency, they'll call me. They'll say, hey, Craig, I need somebody now, and somebody will be out.
Refrigeration like walk-in freezers, reach-ins, deli cases, display cases, chillers, ventilation, air conditioning, and heating. Businesses call McFoy Refrigeration at 424-8335, 424-8335.
Vaccines aren't just for kids, and staying healthy at any age isn't kid stuff. The flu vaccine will help prevent the flu. So get vaccinated instead of getting the flu. This year's vaccine helps protect against 4 different strains of the virus. For information or to see if you or your family could qualify for free vaccinations, call 1-800-282-8672. That's 1-800-282-8672.
It's back to school time for area students. Volunteers are needed at the Food Bank of Delaware's Milford branch to help prepare and pack meals for kids at risk of after school and weekend hunger. Volunteering is a fun and easy way to give back to the community, and you can make a difference in the lives of Delaware children. To learn more or to sign up, please visit fbd.org/volunteer in Milford or call 302-393-2011. Is your family in need of free meals? Dial 211 for Delaware. 211, the state's Health and Human Services hotline.
Smoked tobacco is a lethal product that kills 1 in 2 of its regular users, who lose on average 10 years of life. Smokers die from the tar particles and toxic gases drawn into the body from smoking rather than from the nicotine. However, it is the nicotine that is addictive. Many smokers find it very difficult to give up the nicotine and will continue to smoke cigarettes without an alternative. That's why products like nicotine replacement therapy were invented and are licensed as safe to use. While e-cigarettes are currently unregulated and not licensed as smoking cessation products, the British National Institute for Health acknowledges that their use is safer than continued smoking. This is not simply an opinion. It is an evidence-based statement, and one that is supported by tobacco control organizations in the United Kingdom. Have you considered reducing your smoking risk by switching to the electronic cigarette? Come to one of Delmar Vapor Lounge's convenient locations on Route 113 in Millsboro at the Mill Pond Plaza, or Route 13 in the Food Line Shopping Plaza, Delmar, where you can still try an e-cigarette before you buy one.
Do I live on the water? Sure. When it rains. Look, I own a house, not a houseboat. I've got to do something about the moisture in my crawl space.
Call the champs, DryTech Environmental. They'll knock out that moisture problem and get you back on dry ground. Austin Ireland and his crew at DryTech Environmental don't believe in one size fits all. They'll give you multiple custom-made solutions designed with you and your house in mind. With their registered trademark, Champs, crawl space humidity and moisture prevention system, along with quality, workmanship, and customer service second to none. They will solve your moisture problem for good. Don't wait another day. Call DryTech today. Mention the SAN and receive a free weather station installed at the time of your solution assessment. Avoid the problems of moisture in your crawl space, dry rot, musty smells, and unhealthy mold growth. Call DryTech Environmental. No one does it better, and no one's done it longer. When it comes to crawl space moisture problems, they are the champs. Call 410-543-4848 or online at DRYTEKenvironmental.com.
Local news update. Kelly Steele joining us this morning. Kelly, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Good morning, everybody. In the news this morning, the mother of a man in a wheelchair who was killed in a police-involved shooting in Wilmington last week is arrested. A warrant confirms Phyllis McDowell has been charged in connection with the brutal beating of a woman she thought was the caller in recently released 911 tapes. An investigation has found that McDowell and 5 others went to the woman's house on Lancaster Avenue on Saturday and then allegedly punched a woman in the face, saying she was going to die like her son did. McDowell has been charged with terroristic threatening, assault, and burglary. Your forecast today, mostly cloudy and humid, occasional rain, a high of 78. Pea soup thick out there this morning. Yuck. CBS News is next at 6:31.
CBS News update. Convicted after her husband was murdered in 1997, Kelly Gissendanner has been executed by lethal injection, first woman to be put to death in Georgia in 70 years. WMAZ-TV's Randall Savage was a witness, says Gissendanner was singing Amazing Grace.
She was sobbing quite a bit as she did this. She was saying, "I love you, God." She said she loved her kids, and she said, "I'm so sorry that that amazing man lost his life because of me."
And then
her lips kept moving during that, and I think she tried to sing another song, but I couldn't make that out. So that drug was taking effect, and it wasn't long there till the color went out of her face, and she closed her eyes and her mouth closed.
WXIA-TV's Jeff Hollinger on what led Gissendanner to wind up on death row.
She had convinced her then lover to kill her husband in the hope of collecting insurance money. He is currently in jail serving life, but within 7 years, he will be eligible for parole.
CBS News Update, I'm Dave Barrett.
Southern States of Milford has been serving Lower Delaware for over 60 years, keeping your lawns and gardens green and beautiful year-round. Southern States of Milford is your source for Echo, Steel, and Exmark power equipment. Southern States of Milford is the place for agricultural feed, pet, outdoor, and fuel needs. Need mulch, fertilizer, and landscaping supplies? Your local experts at Southern States of Milford have you covered. Call 422-8066. Southern States of Milford on Williamsville Road. Farmer-owned since 1923.
Hello, this is Pastor Nate Graham from Berean Community Church. I want to tell you about a radio program called Taking God at His Word that airs on Sunday mornings from 6:30 to 7:30, right here on Delaware 105.9. Psalm 19:7 tells us the testimony of God makes wise the simple. We need wisdom and conviction in this uncertain age. So that's what you'll get at Taking God at His Word. Clear, rich, and practical exposition of God's Word, verse by verse, book by book. I hope it will be a blessing to your life.
Come take advantage of the Sunfest savings at Berlin Chevy. Take $12,000 off with any trade on select new 2015 Chevy Silverados in stock. Colorado, Tahoe, Suburban, Impalas, Malibus, Cruises, even the 2015 Silverado 2500 HD. Take $12,000 off. Have a job clearing $350 a week? Berlin Chevy wants to approve you for the credit you deserve. 2015 Chevy Cruze, just $167 per month lease. Plus, we'll take any trade, even if you still owe thousands on it. Take $12,000 off with any trade on select new 2015 Chevy Silverados in stock.
Remember, Jim wants to see you in the littlest, coolest town in America, Berlin, Maryland.
Berlin Chevy, find new roads on Old Ocean City Boulevard, Berlin, Maryland.
Qualified buyers, credit may affect terms. Balance of trade carried over to new loan. Discount based on MSRP of $58,650 with $8,798 factory rebates to dealer and $3,202 dealer discount. Stock number 3725. Cruise 36 month, 10,000 mile per year lease. No security deposit. Plus tax tag dealer processing. Offers not in combination.
What's the best way to bring people together?
T-shirts!
T-shirts.
custom t-shirts that you design online with custom ink. The fun, easy way to make shirts you'll love for your group or occasion. Custom Ink has created over 50 million shirts for families, teams, reunions, church groups, cheerleaders, companies big and small. So go online and see how easy it is to design your own shirts with Custom Ink's online design lab. Our website has tons of fonts and amazing artwork. And our team of professional inkers will make sure your shirts turn out perfectly. Order one shirt or thousands. On-time delivery is guaranteed, and we'll even ship your order absolutely free.
Start designing your custom ink t-shirts today and see why 99% of our customers say they would order from us again. Visit customink.com.
Join us this Saturday for the Delmarva Potting Shed. I am Valerie Cordry, one of the hosts. Every Saturday from 9 to 11, Jake Smith and I will be broadcasting live from East Coast Garden Center. Be a part of our lively discussions about plants, landscaping, garden design, and all that's new and exciting. We'll sprinkle in some gardening guests to excite your interest and keep you up to date on the many interesting gardening happenings.
And the Delmarva Potting Shed brought to you by Lawns Unlimited, the exclusive mist away dealer on Delmarva, installing misting and spraying systems to control insects for residential and commercial lawns. Call 645-5296 today or visit lawnsunlimited.com to get started. Also brought to you by Stokely Materials, providing high-quality pavers, retaining walls, decorative stones, sand, soil, and mulch with 2 locations, Route 113 in Georgetown and Route 9 in Lewis. Don't miss the Delmarva Potting Shed this Saturday from 9 to 11 here on Delaware 105.9. It's time now for the Delaware 105.9 Fishing Report with John Butler, heard every morning at this time.
Good morning, anglers. Well, let me take a moment to talk about Tropical Storm Joaquin. Looks like it's tracking towards us as of this recording, and that could put a damper on the weekend fishing outlook. We're definitely going to keep an eye on this storm. Now, as for the fishing itself, it's autumn, so the fall season is in full swing. Tog season opened up yesterday, but the water is still just a little warm. It's right now in the 70s to the upper 60s at the moment. It needs to cool off just a little bit for the bite to really begin along the inlet. Schoolie stripers are very active right now. They're a blast to catch, but keep in mind you're likely not to catch any keepers. Catch and release mainly for those. I have fun catching them at the Lewis Canal, and thanks to Captain Joe recently at Lewis Harbor Marina introducing me to poppers for them, they're a new tool that adds another level of joy catching them. The bait fish are definitely here. I've personally seen the schools of mullet and spearlings in the canals and along the surf. Bunker and spot are also around as well, just waiting for the big schools to make its annual run. And by the way, I talked about the possibility of seeing some false albacore caught on the surf, and Delaware Surf Fishing reporting one caught. And judging the catch from the photo, it was taken before things got a little nasty out there. Hopefully, we'll get out there and do some fall fishing. And real quick, a happy birthday to my ultimate fishing partner, my wife, Mrs. Butler. And just for the record, yes, she can outfish me any day of the week. All right, tight lines and be safe out there. I'm John Butler with the Delaware 105.9 Fishing Report.
All right, good morning. It's Delaware 105.9, 637. The state of Georgia executed a woman last night who had been on death row. Very interesting here. Very interesting. Her name is Kelly Renee Gissendoner. And that happened early this morning. Lethal injection. The only woman on Georgia death row, the first woman put to death in a southern state in 70 years. 47-year-old woman was convicted for murder in 1997 in the killing of her husband, Douglas Gissendoner. But check this out. Here's what happened. She had a lover. She convinced or pushed her lover, Gregory Owen, into killing her husband. Gregory Owen did the stabbing and the killing. She was convicted of murder for pushing him and getting him to do it. the guy who did the stabbing, is still alive, serving a life imprisonment, and is eligible for parole in 2022.
I'm so confused over this story because
she has been executed. The actual stabber is alive and is up for parole in 2022.
Danny, my way of thinking is they both should have gotten either life in prison or they both should have been convicted of the death penalty.
But
Same
not,
crime.
Right. Unjust to kill her, but not him. Unjust.
Right.
You may think the death penalty is a just punishment. I don't know where you stand on this, but is this justice?
Yes, she had a part in the crime. She planned it. She got her lover to kill her husband.
Right. It's
He
just like
did the
paying
actual-
a hitman or
right.
something.
He did the actual killing. Why did they get different sentences?
Right.
And this guy is now eligible. She's dead. He's eligible for parole and could be walking the streets in 7 years.
Right. 2022.
I don't get it.
She sobbed before her death by execution last night. Said she loved her 3 children. She apologized, as she has been doing, privately to her murdered husband's family. And she sang Amazing Grace and was trying to sing another song before she went completely out. So there you go. 839 1059. Mike is calling us from Ocean Pines. Thank you for joining us, Mike.
Good morning, Dan. How are you this morning?
Doing well, thanks.
Good. It's not raining. That's a good thing right now.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were actually 2 separate cases. They probably stood before 2 different judges, 2 different juries. Different lawyers were running the case.
Different juries, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, and they just came up with 2 different decisions. I mean, this happens all the time in our judicial system. It doesn't seem just.
That's the question. Does this seem just to you? The man who did this, the man lives. Let's kill the woman.
Yeah. I mean, from one perspective, I would look at her as having even more evil in her than the boyfriend. Because for him, he's pretty much stabbing somebody he has never had a relationship with. But she's having.
Wait a minute. She's a lover of the. He has a vested interest in getting him out of the picture.
Oh, he did, and people kill all the time for vested interest, money and property and all kinds of stuff. But hers was like, she was married to this guy who I don't know for how long and so on, and
she had children with him.
Rather than just divorce him, she chose to get somebody to kill him. I don't know, and we also don't know what evidence was presented in the trials, whether she had actually sought this guy out, whether he was maybe a lover, but a lover that she engaged with the intention of getting rid of her husband. Who knows?
Right.
What goes on in the court. So anyway, have a great day, Dan.
Thank you. How about it? Isn't that amazing, though? She's saying Amazing Grace. The whole story is amazing, really, when you look at what is going on. Let's see what Paul in Georgetown thinks of this. Is this justice? I mean, not just her execution, but the fact that let's kill the woman who encouraged the killing, but not the actual killer. He's up for parole and will live. What do you think of that, Paul?
Well, it sounds to me like there was a plea agreement made. He most likely testified against her, sounds like. And that's probably part of a plea agreement.
Yes. Yes, he took a plea. She probably went to trial, right? I think that's probably what happened. I think that is what happened.
Because that way his confession would corroborate the police arrest and the story that was.
Yeah, well, these are all processes that get us to the end level, regardless of how we got here. You're now looking at the end result. Is it just to kill her but not him? And now that you know, forget about how they got there. We know how they got there through different trials, different maneuvers and behaviors legally. But now that you know all of that and you're saying, look, we've got the guy who has the bloody knife, he's the killer, and he is going to live, and he's up for parole. The woman who encouraged it, we're going to put down. You're on a panel, and you have the opportunity to stay this execution. What do you do?
Well, I mean, like I said, if he made a plea agreement with the state to save his life, then and testify against her, and the jury came back with the death penalty for her. That's how the cards fell.
That's a fact. But how do you feel about it? Look, that's a fact. We all know it. There's no disagreement. But the question to you is, do you feel it's just? Is it right or wrong? We know how we got here. Is it right or wrong?
Well, I'd have to say it's right.
It's right to kill her and let him live.
I mean, it may be wrong in the eyes of the fact that this guy is not getting the death penalty, but it all goes back to what the state had, information they got from him, or the state got from him to put her away. Maybe they wouldn't have had enough to nail her if he didn't testify.
I get you. Listen.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a tough nut to crack without having everything in front of you. But I mean, it sounds like they did what they had to do to get a guilty verdict on her.
Mm-hmm. Listen, thank you very much. Thank you. What's that?
Might be a John Brady question.
Right. Well, it's not. I don't disagree with the legal maneuvers that got them to this point. I'm saying now that we have hindsight, is it right or wrong? That's not a legal question.
Based on the information we've got, I'd have to say it's right.
All right. Let's see what Bill in Seaford thinks. Hello, Bill. So basically what the last two callers have said is that it's right that the stabber lives. That's justice. All right, Bill, go ahead.
Hey, no, Dan, listen, I got to disagree with both of those guys. No, as far as I'm concerned, he's the one that did the killing, even though she talked him into it. It's kind of, to me, it's like, well, she come up with the idea, but he did the killing, but it's her fault. So almost like he's got no responsibility in it so far. I think this has got a lot to do with this modern thinking that we got nowadays. We don't want to hold anybody who's really responsible for anything. We want to always push it off on somebody else.
Well, I think it's clear they both have responsibility, right? They both. It's not 100% responsibility. Responsibility is not 100% always. You can share responsibility in things, right?
Well, I understand that 100%, and I think she should have got life, and I think they should have killed him on the spot.
Right. It's almost like
he was the one. Listen, the man is superior than the woman. I don't mean that derogatory, but what I'm saying is, yourself, a lot of women say things, you know what I mean? Like, well, I say things, but a lot of women can be influenced more by a man, you know what I'm saying?
Right, and they excuse the man because they think the woman was so crafty that she overpowered him with her craftiness, right?
Yes, and to me it's ridiculous. This guy did the killing. It's just like if I told you, Dan, hey, I'll tell you what, Dan, I'm going to give you $10,000 to go kill this man down the street.
Right.
You go down there and you kill that man. Now, who's responsible for the killing?
Well, we both are, but mostly me.
Well, I would say you because
mostly me.
Can I make you do anything that you don't want to do?
No. That's
okay.
Yeah, right. So what did we do in this case? And what we did here is we killed the woman, and the man lives. Huh?
I know, and I am totally I think it's totally wrong, and I think it's ridiculous. I just saw something, and, we talk about just. We're talking about just, and we're talking about a lot of people don't like the death penalty. But I'm telling you right now, I'm in favor of the death penalty. And
I guess in your world, you would say, look, it's not just what happened, but what we should have done is killed them both.
Hey, no. She could have got life.
All right.
She talked. Listen, the responsible party, the most responsible party, is the man that did the killing.
That's
you can't talk me into something I want to do that I don't want to do. Do you understand that?
Absolutely.
You can't talk me into doing it. If I want to do it, it's my responsibility. I did the killing. She talked me into it. I could be kidding you and say, I want you to kill my husband. Well, I'd like to have my husband dead, and he did the killing.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, he's the more guilty party. He should the one that should have got the death penalty. And but I tell you, it's just liberal thinking, buddy.
But doesn't it matter? Look, the last couple of callers are pointing out the legal maneuvers. He took a plea, she didn't, and so they took it to trial and all of that. We know all of that. That's how they got there. But at the end of the day, you're seeing it for what it is, not justice.
Yes. Absolutely, Dan. This is nothing but politics in our justice system is what this is. Because I think the people are not wanting to... Hey.
Yeah. You there?
You there?
Are you okay?
Are you okay? Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. What happened? You dropped the phone?
Just about, yeah. But anyway, yeah. I guess the other thing I was going to say was, this is just politics with our justice system is the way I look at it.
Got it, yeah.
I wonder, are they so interested in just finding an easy way to do this rather than try to investigate enough to find the man guilty, without a plea bargain? Why should he get it? Why should he get favor just because he plea bargained?
Right. Listen, thank you very much for the call. 839-1059. You're pointing out politics in the justice system. Okay. Anthony in Ocean View. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, sir.
Hi.
Hello. I just wanted to throw out there that she was offered a plea agreement, but she rejected it based upon the fact that she didn't actually commit the murder. And I assume that her plea agreement would have been for a lesser sentence, not death. So had she taken the plea agreement, maybe the outcome would have been different for her. But she put her life in the hands of the jury.
You're talking about process. We know all of this. We know all of this and how we got there. My question is, now that the process is over and they're both in jail, do you feel justice is served to execute her, but let the other man who did the stabbing live, and he's up for parole in 2022?
Absolutely not. The justice system is obviously broken and corrupted. I've seen it, and it's a revolving door with recidivism. The death penalty, as far as that goes, I think maybe the situation could have been handled a lot differently to begin with. There's health departments, social service departments to handle these situations and maybe help alleviate them before they happen. And there's just a failure on so many levels for these things to be happening in this country. It's just it's ridiculous. I don't agree with it one bit.
All right, now just quick, based on what you said, I'm just curious. A quick exit question. It's not what the debate is about, but are you pro or not pro death penalty? Pro or con?
That's a tough question. In a certain circumstance, sure.
Okay. All right, so you're not totally a con, but you could be in favor of it in certain situations, right?
Yeah, I don't agree with dragging it out for years and years and years and keeping a person alive for 20 years and then killing them. If you're going to do it, do it.
Right.
When the decision's made, get it done.
Yeah. So. Anthony, thank you very much. Good to hear you. Great callers, always, on the Dan Gaffney program. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to do an advice hour where I ask you to give advice. I'll tell you what that's about coming up. It's going to be fun, I hope. We'll try it. Butch is here. Butch in Rehoboth, hello.
Hey, Dan. I don't think justice was served at all. I think, at the end of the day, he should have got it too.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. But he didn't. Let's go to Paul. Wants to amend his earlier call or add to. Yes.
Hey, Dan. When you're looking at this situation in the law, you got to take the emotion out of it because the law isn't emotional. Murder one is murder one. It was premeditated. Both of them were involved in it, and she thinks she should have got a less sentence. She was charged with murder one, which is correct because she's the one that thought this plan up. She involved him in it. Maybe the problem here is since they were tried separately, two separate juries, and there's different information in both of those trials. That's what happened with the outcome. Her mistake was not taking a plea agreement.
I understand her mistake. You still say it's a just sentence. You still say it's justice.
It was served by those two juries.
Right. Got it. Thank you very much. That's Paul in Georgetown. Good morning. 6:50.